agenda. It's a lot of it's
No,
just
work session might take longer than the meeting.
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. Looks like a lot of just going through the motions stuff.
Sorry.
You need to tape the
I was there. I don't know what I'm doing.
okay.
You quit laughing at me. I got 101 things on my head. Brain. We're going. You can start.
Okay, good morning, and we do have public comment this morning. And I'll have you come forward and have a chair by the mic, and if you would introduce yourself, and then you have the floor.
My name is Christina TD. My friends call me Chrissy. I live at 19622 State Highway 210, Aldridge. Thank you for letting me come and speak with you guys today. I came to talk to you today about passing a county ordinance that simply states no animal waste on county roads. I know you guys have beat around the bush about this topic several times before. 2 weeks ago, I spoke with Barb Becker on the phone, and she asked me to come and speak with you because she felt that yous needed to hear from community members that are fed up about this topic. And there are several of us out there. It's just not me. I'm sure yous have heard it in your communities as well. This is the solution. It's just not picking on the Amish. Well, it seems to be, but it is just not limiting this topic to horses. So we're not just saying horses, it's simply stating no animal waste on community roads. So whether it be goats, anything. The citizens of Todd County are fed up about it. I can give you one example. I know of somebody who actually picked up horse manure and put it in an Amish mailbox. How sad is that? It's not right. It's pretty pathetic. The horse manure ruins our tires. It gets in our brakes pads, gets up on our toolboxes. My husband drives a tow truck, gets up on our toolboxes and our chains. It ruins our stuff, and it does not come off. We pay taxes to drive on our roads. The Amish do not. Yet they do destroy our roads by driving their buggies through freshly laid tar. And that, it never ends. Last week, I spoke with an Amish church elder in my neighborhood. I don't know if you know Levi Yoder. He lives at 2394 State Highway 210. And I shared with him just how I just did with you, is that it gets in our tires and such. I asked him how he would feel if one of us threw a bucket of horse manure in his buggy, and he said he wouldn't like it at all. We discussed how it was the same as my car, getting horse manure in my tires, and he agreed. You know, I don't want my $30,000 car ruined. I don't like horse manure on my car and my grandchildren having to touch horse manure because that is hard to get off. We also talked about how we have to live together as a community of neighbors, and that I, for one, respect their way of living. I think it's very admirable. I wish I could live that simple way of life. I buy all my vegetables from my Amish neighbors. When my husband bought our farm, there were no Amish in our community. Now we only have 2 people that are not Amish in our community. Levi said he didn't know what to do, and I asked him if he could talk to the elders about bagging their horses. And he said he could. He didn't, he thought it wasn't the greatest. you know, thought it was kind of gross, but he said he could. It wouldn't be fun to do, but he said he would talk to them and that he would come and talk to the county as well. I've heard talk in the community that this board is also afraid to do anything of passing on an ordinance because they're afraid of some attorney out east suing the county if they pass an ordinance. And I mentioned that to Levi, and he said, we do? Well, that wouldn't be right. We would never do such a thing. So I ask you again to pass an ordinance that just simply states no animal waste on county roads. I realize State Highway 210 is a state highway. That's a state problem. You are responsible for county roads. Pass it on state roads and protect the citizens of your county. As we pay taxes, they don't carry insurance. So when they cause an accident, we are responsible, not them. They say, too bad. My father-in-law went to an auction and his buggy got away from him, slammed him into my father-in-law's truck, caused $20,000 worth of damage, and the Amish gentleman said, too bad. So my father-in-law had to pay $20,000 to fix this truck. And a few weeks ago, I've never complained about horse manure on the roads before, but I was fed up and I went and complained to an Amish farm. And then I called the local sheriff's department and I complained, and a deputy called back. And I believe his name is Nathan. And he stated to me that horse manure on the road from 1 or 2 horses wasn't a nuisance because it didn't cause a safety concern or a problem. But if I were to drop a quarter load of manure on the road from cows, then I would get cited because it was a safety concern. Well, there have been motorcycle accidents right on 210. One a few years ago with a husband and wife that hit a patch of horse manure that got into a serious accident from hitting horse manure. They will never ride again. So you can't tell me it doesn't happen, because it does. It's about time that people look out for the citizens of Todd County and not be afraid. Like I said, we all have to live together as a community, you know. And as more of them move in, what do we do to protect us as well? And then the final topic I wanted to address with you was the signs on the county roads, the bake sale signs. They're illegal, and everybody knows it. You pull up to a stop sign, and they shouldn't be there. They're not only bake sale signs. I've seen one of my neighbors across one of my fields that I own in Aldrich that has a nightcrawler sign up all summer long on a county sign that should not be on a county sign that obstructs your vision from pulling out. Law enforcement needs to be told to remove those, or your county highway department, whoever removes signs, you know. Get them off of there so people can see and not cause accidents. So, does anybody have any questions for me?
I just, I'm gonna say that, you know, since you took the time to come in and talk to us, I wanna take a couple seconds just to summarize what you said. And I don't understand what your comment is about the board being afraid to take action about something, because this board on a every 2-week basis, maybe more frequently, takes action upon very, very difficult items, from child safety to highway safety to mental illness stuff to huge financial decisions. So your statement of the board being afraid to make decisions, that doesn't happen in my world that I'm living on this board, okay?
That is just what I've heard in the community.
Okay, that's fine, wonderful, and I'm telling you what we experience here every day, okay?
I understand that.
Thank you, appreciate
And
that.
I just wanted to let you know that that was what is being said in the community about,
Sure.
you know,
The other thing is,
I don't feel that way. My personal feeling is I do not
Right.
feel that way.
and it sounds like you see a lot of positive, you talked about, you wish you could have lived that lifestyle with the Amish living, you buy stuff from them, and so just like everything in this county, there's some great things about a lot of people and religions and whatever, and there's some things that other people don't like, So what we do is we try to listen to your concern. If it's a safety concern, we got to deal with it, of course. If it's your opinion, we also respect that also. So I heard you, understand, and thankful for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in. Thank you.
Thanks.
I think it's highway.
There you go.
Yeah, well,
Good morning, and welcome to the Todd County Board of Commissioners regular board meeting. Today is Tuesday, August 6th. The time is 9 a.m. All commissioners are present, along with the coordinator and the auditor treasurer. We will now stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd ask for, are there any amendments to the agenda?
Yes, Madam Chair, I have one. If we could add under my category of 5.5 for emergency management services has a declaration for emergency.
Okay. Are there any other amendments to the agenda? If not, I'll ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
I'll take second.
Commission, okay.
Bob, I'll take a second.
Byers made the motion and Nazca second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And carries. Then we will go into the consent items, Denise.
Today's consent items are meeting minute approval for July 16th and 29th, 2024. Temporary hire senior engineering technician Carl Pung, start date to be determined. Hire Daniel Stike, part-time road deputy, start date to be determined. Hire Connie Spanswick, full-time correctional officer, start date to be determined. Hire Brian Lashinsky, road sergeant, start date to be determined. Hire Andrew Schultz, part-time correctional officer, start date to be determined. Accept the resignation of Jacob Burdette, Part-time correctional officer, 7/25/2024. Hire social worker Megan Bauer, start date to be determined. Hire paraprofessional case aide Anna Herky, start date to be determined. Retirement of Tina Rydell, Veterans Administrative Assistant, 9/3/2024. And the Long Prairie Lions has a one-day temporary on-sale liquor license for 8/24/2024.
Okay, is there a motion for approval of the consent items?
So moved.
Motion by Newman, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Denny. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And carries. Denise, then?
Yes, my first item would be the auditor warrants. Background is sent for your review. Recommendation is to approve the July 2024 auditor warrants with an ACH and a manual payment totaling in the amount of $4,428,395.89.
Okay, I ask for a motion for the auditor warrants.
So moved.
Motion by Denny, second by Nazca.
Yeah, I'll take two again.
Discussion? Hearing no discussion, roll call.
Commissioner Denny?
Yes.
Commissioner Nazca?
Yes.
Commissioner Byers?
Yes.
Commissioner Newman?
Yes.
Commissioner Becker?
Yes.
Thank you. The next item then would be the commissioner warrants. Background is sent for review. Recommendation is to approve the commissioner warrants with an ACH and a manual payment totaling the amount of $168,227.94.
I'd ask for a motion for the commissioner warrants.
So moved.
Motion by Byers, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Newman. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, roll call.
Commissioner Byers?
Yes.
Commissioner Newman?
Yes.
Commissioner Denny?
Yes.
Commissioner Nazca?
Yes.
Commissioner Becker?
Yes.
The next item I have is the Health and Human Service Commissioner warrants. Background was sent for review. Recommendation is to approve the Health and Human Service Commissioner warrants with an ACH and a manual payment totaling the amount of $60,807.42.
I'll ask for a motion for the Health and Human Service Commissioner warrants.
So moved.
Motion by Denny, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nazca?
Yep.
Discussion? Hearing no discussion, roll call.
Commissioner Denny?
Yes.
Commissioner Nazca?
Yes.
Commissioner Byers?
Yes.
Commissioner Newman?
Yes.
Commissioner Becker?
Yes.
Thank you. The last item I have then is the Health and Human Service SSIS warrants. Background is sent for review. Recommendation is to approve the Health and Human Service SSIS warrants with an ACH and a manual payment totaling in the amount of $88,011.43.
I'll ask for a motion for the Health and Human Services SSIS warrants.
So moved.
Motion by Newman, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Denny. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, roll call.
Commissioner Newman?
Yes.
Commissioner Denny?
Yes.
Commissioner Byers?
Yes.
Commissioner Nazca?
Yes.
Commissioner Becker?
Yes.
And our amended item is the next board action.
5.5 would be Mike. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Mike.
Yeah, it's been a busy summer, hasn't it? What I'm bringing you today is, it's a process that we have to go through, is we have to do a declaration of emergency, which I have to present to the governor. On August 3rd, Todd County had severe thunderstorms with the winds exceeding 60 miles an hour and golf ball size hail. Some cases, it was actually even softball size hail. So I just saw pictures of those. These storms passed through northern Todd County all the way through to southern Todd County, leaving destructive path. Todd County Emergency Management is still collecting damage information, but as of this board action, we were at 120. We are now at $161,000 worth of damage, and still more coming in. This exceeds our federal, which is $116,205.20 federal threshold indicators. And at this point, emergency management will be requesting assistance from the state under Chapter 12B, which is the state assistance. That is 50% of the federal threshold. And that would give us assistance of about 75% of the total cost. So I'm presenting to you today, there's a resolution and declaration of the state of emergency, whereas the severe thunderstorm with greater than 60-mile-an-hour winds and golf ball-sized hail has impacted population of Todd County and its cities. Whereas the severe weather event has caused a significant amount of public property damage, and whereas Todd County Department of Emergency Management requests the Todd County Board of Commissioners to declare Todd County in a state of emergency for August 3rd event, 2024. Now therefore be resolved that Todd County Board of Commissioners declares Todd County in a state of emergency for conditions resulted from the severe event on August 3rd, 2024. The options are to approve this or not to approve this declaration.
Okay, I would ask for a motion to declare Todd County in a state of emergency.
So moved.
Motion by Byers. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Denny. Discussion? That's through the townships. You got hold of the townships then?
I'm still getting some. I know a lot of the northern townships didn't get hit as hard on the township, but the Gray Eagle Valley, Burnhamville, I'm sure that they've got damage because I'm in the Burnhamville and there was a lot of wind damage. Some of the higher costs, of course, is our utility co-ops that are included in there. So Todd Wadena had almost about $50,000 worth of damages. And Stearns Electric came back with about 20,000 plus, but I suspect they have a lot more because of a number of the lines were snapped off. And when I was in dispatch, we were wielding all kinds of calls with power lines snapped off and trees all over the road. So,
Okay. Any further questions? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it's carried. Thank you,
thank you
Mike.
very much.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
And next, Brenda from Rainbow Rider. Good morning.
Good morning, Brenda.
Hello.
So I'm just here to share a little bit about Rainbow Rider, answer any questions you might have, and thank you for your local support. The first thing we're looking at is our 2025, both local operating and capital budget requests. So we started last year basing our local share asks for each county based on the hours that we budget for each county. Todd County is in second place on the percentage, that's 14%. The local share that MnDOT requires of us and that we're asking the counties for is 5% of our total budget for 2025 of $4.5 million. The local share ends up being $226,000, and Todd County's portion of that is just shy of $33,000. And then our capital budget request is a total per county of $17,328.33. And what that is composed of is we have a capital technology grant and vehicle replacement. So the technology is after, let's see, I think about 13 years, we're looking at replacing our dispatching software. We're very excited about that because shortly after we got it, we found out that it doesn't necessarily meet our needs. So we're excited about having more options to choose from this time. And then, as I said, the second thing is the vehicle replacement. We at Rainbow Rider have a hard time stomaching the new vehicle replacement costs. So budgeted costs for 2025, each bus is looking to be about $234,000. In 2019, we spent $88,000 on a bus. So when we get those prices, we just cringe. But luckily, we're at a 10% local share, so the costs are still affordable to us. So then the next thing I brought to share, to go over a little bit with you, are statistics. What you're seeing is through June of this year. And again, like I said, Todd County is in second place on ridership as well. Let's see, through June, you had 11,164 rides. That is 17% of our total rides for the year, which is 66,445. So it looks like, going through our categories, the disabled, elderly, adult, student, and child, Todd County ranks second on almost all of those, with the exception of students and children. And we actually, back in 2019, our student ridership was out the window, but it was also taking its toll on our actual public transportation. So with the assistance of Randy and Barb, we had some meetings with the school district, and we kind of got that all under control. So I'm happy to say now that we are actually providing the public transportation that we should be. And then the last thing that I brought is just a service analysis. I'm not really gonna go through all of that a lot. Some things that I thought were interesting. Rainbow Rider's average ride, we charge $2 up to 5 miles, 4 up to 10, and then over that is $6. So even though we're charging those 2, 4, 6, our average ride per passenger costs about $29. So a great cost for the public, considering what we're paying for that actual ride. Any questions?
Quick question for you. The on that chart there, go back up a little bit to the rides per day. It looks like Todd County's rides per day is the one that, like, you know, everybody's pretty flat or down, but ours are up, 10, 12, 14%. What does that attribute to?
I would say probably those disabled ridership. We do contract transportation for the STEP program in Browerville, and we transport a lot of clients every Monday through Friday, both morning and afternoon. So that one would probably be our biggest rides per day.
Okay, thank you.
And then I should also mention, we also do a lot of rides for Centricare. They have been kind enough to pay for anybody who comes to their facility, to and from, they pay for those rides, so people really take advantage of that. So we do a lot of rides for them as well.
So they're covering the $2, $4, $6.
Yes.
Okay.
And this is just the southern half of the county.
Yeah.
Correct. I should have mentioned that.
Yeah, because the northern part, we go with the friendly rider. A lot of times the friendly rider and rainbow rider will meet to change passengers and so forth. Yeah.
Yep. We usually meet up in Browerville.
What's that?
Lakewood.
Yeah, up in Staples, yeah. The hospital in Staples does also. Okay. Any other questions? If not, Brenda, thank you for coming.
All
Good to
right,
see you.
thank you for
Brenda.
For the
having
update,
me.
yeah,
Have a good day.
You guys do.
thanks.
Okay, we'll go on to MIS.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I have a couple board action forms. The first one is an annual server purchase. As part of our server rotation schedule, a host server is scheduled for replacement this year. A quote was received that is part of the state contract, and funding sources have been secured. Contributing funding sources are compliance, recorder tech, corrections, social services, and MIS. The total cost of the server is $15,955. Your options are to approve the server, through Now Micro in the amount of $15,955, utilizing funding sources listed, or do not approve. The recommendation is to approve the purchase through Now Micro in the amount of $15,955.
Okay, I'd ask for a motion for the annual server purchase.
So moved.
Motion by Nazca, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Danny. Discussion, questions? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And carries.
Thank you. My next one is our multi-factor authentication solution. For security and compliance reasons, we need multi-factor authentication. Our current solution is not going to be available after September 30th of this year. I have attached a quote for a new solution from RSA in the amount of $13,128.48. This will be an ongoing expense and is budgeted. Your options are to approve the quote from RSA in the amount of $13,128.48 or do not approve. The recommendation is to approve the quote from RSA in the amount of $13,128.48. The actual quote is from Morse Electronics, who is our software vendor. So the quote is actually from Morse Electronics for RSA. So
Okay. I guess we need a motion to approve the quote from RSA, the amount of $13,128.48.
So moved.
Motion by Newman, is there a second?
Second. Me.
Second by Nazca.
Timing.
Discussion.
Tough to-
I've got a question. So this is in pertinence to like when we,
yep, this will replace your phone factor when you log in and your phone rings.
Yeah.
This will be a different solution.
so will it be a little less invasive then?
It'll be an app on your phone.
Yeah, so you just
Like-
hit approve instead of having to answer a phone call and push pound?
Yep, you won't have to answer the phone call. I believe it might be a 6-digit number though.
Yeah,
Yep.
a lot of places use that now.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, so no
yeah,
more
I was-
answering your phone.
I was never really a
Yes.
fan of that anyway,
Yes.
so.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Next, we'll go into facilities. Good morning, Mitch.
Good morning. Good morning, Commissioners. I just have one item on the agenda here, and the topic is the ARPA funds for the Justice Center roof and rooftop project final payment. The background is, on December 9th, 2022, the Todd County Board of Commissioners approved the request of ARPA funds for the Justice Center rooftop project in total cost of $1,510,069. As of 7/22/2024, a final payment was requested after all requirements were met by BCI Construction for a final payment of $77,320.73, bringing the total cost of the project in at $1,545,214.87. And the options are to approve the final payment of $77,320.73 from ARPA funds for a total project cost of $1,545,214.87, or do not approve request. The recommendation is to approve the final payment of $77,320.73 from ARPA funds for a total project cost of $1,545,214.87.
Okay, I'd ask for a motion to approve the final payment from the ARPA funds of $77,320.73 for the Justice Center rooftop project.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Byers. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Denny. Discussion. Mitch, is that for all three roofs, two roofs, just the Justice?
This is just the Justice Center project.
Okay.
This was included on what we did is a upgrade of our control system. Our control system was outdated for controlling the roof and rooftop units. We did all of the rooftops, controls, and the actual roof itself. So that's what this is for, is that particular project.
And then that one, you were having problems with one,
Yeah, so we were
water.
having a little bit of problems with the roof drainage system. That was resolved by the contractor. We have taken care of that, and that has been resolved by them at their expense. That was no extra additional cost to the county. And we're waiting on a little bit of that and a little bit of just, at the end, most projects, there's just little things to tidy up, and that's what we're waiting on for them to do so we could send out the final payment.
okay. Any further questions? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And it carries. Thank you, Mitch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Pretty simple topic ahead of you today, just a final payment for our 2023 final cover construction with the ARP funding. Background: in October of 2023, Bursky Excavating was contracted to build a final cover on Phase 6 through 18 of the Todd County Demolition Landfill. Bursky has completed the work and submitted an attached final pay request. The board authorized up to $700,000 to be spent at this final cover project. The work has been completed and the contractor is requesting final payment. To date, $265,111.84 has been spent on the project. This includes contractor and consultant costs. Final pay request is for the $11,478.23. If the final pay request is approved for the Board of Commissioners, total withdrawals from ARP funds will be $265,111.84 plus the $11,478.23 in a total of $276,590.07. The remaining ARP obligation dollars that can be committed to other projects is $423,409.93. Options are to authorize the final payment for $11,478.23 with ARP funds and release the obligation on the remaining $423,409.23 in the ARP fund, or do not authorize final payment. Recommendation is to authorize final payment to Bursky for $11,478.23 with ARP funds.
Okay. I'd ask for a motion for the final payment for the cover construction. Authorizing, let's see, $11,478.23 as the final payment and releasing funds back, ARPA funds back to the county of $423,409.93.
So moved.
Motion by Newman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Denny. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And carries. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Mike.
I wish everything came in like that.
Good morning. Good morning.
All right, a few board action forms here from Health and Human Services to present today. First one being approving the federal fiscal year 2025 low-income home energy assistance program grant contract and internal controls. Some background. Todd County Health and Human Service will administer and deliver the energy assistance program to Todd County residents with the federal fiscal year 2025 beginning October 1st, 2024. The Office of Legislative Auditor requires the Minnesota Department of Commerce to ensure service providers maintain an effective internal control system and appropriate management of public funds. The internal controls documentation helps meet the requirement by documenting specific aspects of the service provider's internal controls. The ICD is organized in accordance with the United States Government Accountability Office's standards for internal control in federal government. Your options are to approve the federal fiscal year 2025 low-income home energy assistance program grant contract and internal controls documentation, or to not approve. It's our recommendation you approve the federal fiscal year 2025 low-income home energy assistance program grant contract and internal controls documentation. Back in spring, Amy Zimmerman did come up and share the annual numbers for residents served in households with the intent to continue with the program of the energy assistance. So with that, I will, hope we can move forward.
Okay, I'd ask for a motion for approval for the low-income home energy assistance program, grant program with internal controls.
So moved.
Motion by Denny, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nazca, discussion. Jackie,
Question when you're after.
oh,
go ahead.
okay. I noticed you didn't have the budgeted part marked. Is that because it's a grant
And fully funded.
and
right.
fully funded? Okay, thank you. Bob?
Thank you. So this would be our internal controls that are gonna make sure that there's no fraudulent.
Correct.
Okay, have we ever had any fraudulent activity that you're aware of?
No, I don't believe, each year we've been fairly,
So we're doing better.
between Amy and Julie's leadership, we haven't had any, really any findings or performance improvement plans, so.
So we're doing better than the state, that's awesome.
We are
Good
doing
job.
better, and we're one of few counties that still provide energy assistance here at the county in the state. Otherwise, they've gone with other, like TRICAP, Morrison County has out of Stearns County that provides the
Yeah, we did that
program.
weatherization, right?
And let me note that with Amy reviewing those numbers as services that were provided, I think we even give out more than what TRICAP has done for Todd County than what had been received in Morrison County. So, and their population being larger than ours, we were able to distribute more dollars and more services.
Any
Thank
further
you.
questions?
Nope.
If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And carries.
Thank you.
Thank
That's
you.
a part of the one-stop shop that the board has always kind of supported with Todd County. When there's a need in the county, people can come here and we can resource them or help them, especially around low-income needs. So, thank you for that. Thank you.
Okay. We'll just take a break for a second.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
And go ahead, Jackie.
Ready? Okay, all right. Our next board action form to present is a request to hire a social worker. Some background, at the Commissioners' work session on July 16th, 2024, there was discussion regarding the need for an additional social worker in the Adult Services Unit for assisting the TIDA program. your options are to authorize the hiring of a social worker in the adult services unit or to not authorize. It's our recommendation. You authorize hiring the social worker in the adult services unit. And let me add that we did bring this through personnel, then went to work session and here today for the
Okay, before I ask for a motion, Jackie, it's a non-budgeted item, so if you could go into how you're going to pay for this.
Yes, so through June 30th of 2025, it'll be Sourcewell impact funding that we got, so that will pay for the position, and then ongoing, our regional adult mental health initiative will pay for it.
And those are state dollars that'll be coming in.
Okay, with that, I'd ask for a motion of a request to hire a social worker.
So moved.
Motion by Denny. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Byers. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed and carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, just in time, Catherine's here. She's
Yes.
got 3 opioid settlement funding requests to go through all that. You kind of read them and as you're kind of leading this initiative, so.
Sure. Our advisory council met on July 17th, and there's an attached funding request you'll see. It was approved for funding. The request would provide Better Days Treatment Center with funds to assist clients who are experiencing barriers to attending treatment, including housing, transportation, childcare, peer support, and payment for services. This is their second request. As you heard from Candace, last month, I believe, how successful her program was. So this is the same request, but it's for the next 6 months of the year. So the options are to approve the opioid settlement funding request to Better Days Treatment Center or to not approve.
Okay, and I ask for a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Byers. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nazca. Discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair. Where's the location of this?
Better Days Treatment is in Long Prairie. It's located,
Behind Prairie Fire Nutrition, I believe,
yeah,
in the same building.
yep.
And for the record, should I state that the opioid settlement is for Better Days treatment?
Yes.
Okay. With that, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And carries.
Right, second request, this was also reviewed on July 17th by the Advisory Council and approved for funding. The request would allow 4 staff from Todd Community Corrections to attend Decision Points training. Decision Points is an evidence-based cognitive behavioral intervention program to address risk, needs, and responsivity for justice-involved individuals, both adults and youth. The options are to approve the opioid settlement funding request for Decision Points training or to not approve. Just so you're aware, the same request went to the Wadena County Opioid Settlement Advisory Council, and they approved it as well. So we're splitting the costs with them.
Okay. I'd ask for a motion for opioid settlement funding to go to Decision Point training.
So moved.
Motion by Nazca. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Byers. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And carries.
And number 3, also approved on July 17th. This request would allow 6 staff from law enforcement and HHS to attend the 2024 Criminal Justice Mental Health Summit, September 16th to the 18th, 2024. The conference provides a comprehensive look on how to reduce mental health emergencies within our communities, organizations, and home life. The options are to approve the opioid settlement funding request for the Criminal Justice Mental Health Summit or to not approve.
Okay, and I ask for a motion for the opioid settlement funding for the Criminal Justice Mental Health Summit.
So moved.
Motion by Byers. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Danny. Discussion? How many people will be going?
6. And it'll be the combination of Staples PD, Long Prairie PD, Sheriff's Office, and HHS staff.
Okay. All in favor?
Thank you.
Aye.
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 Opposed? And carries. Thank you.
Good. And just a quick update, Chris Brigman and I will be coming August 20th to work session to talk about the community RFP process for the opioid settlement. We're hoping to come this today, but we needed a little bit more time.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you then.
Okay, I'll ask for standard reports, Todd County Auditor Treasurer.
I have a ton of election stuff. All Todd County polls will be open for the state primary election on Tuesday, August 13th. Persons can look to the county website or the state website of mnvotes.gov to learn more about how to vote and how to register to vote, how to request for absentee ballots. They can view sample ballots and they can find their polling location. So that's kind of a one-stop shop right there. Again, that's located at the website of mnvotes.gov. Todd County will also be canvassing board on August 15th. That's Thursday following the election at 4 p.m. to finalize the results. Still looking for one more volunteer. I have one from the board to sit on that, so please see me. Candidate filing for many school districts, cities, and some townships is currently open until 5 p.m. on August 13th. Interested persons wishing to run for any of those seats should reach out to the clerk of that jurisdiction. And we are busy preparing for the November general election that's well underway. And persons wishing to vote absentee for the November election can file their request at any time with our office. And sounds like we've got some exciting stuff coming to Minnesota from what I hear this morning already about Governor Walz. So we'll stay tuned to that.
Interesting.
Interesting, it will be.
Okay.
Thank you.
County Attorney report?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I apologize for being late to the meeting today. We did not have any qualified applicants for the summer document review internship. We're hoping to repackage that internship opportunity for college students as a fall internship and perhaps seek to enhance the wage being offered because that didn't attract much interest at all at $15 an hour. We do have an assistant county attorney position still vacant within our office. However, we did get a couple of recent applicants, and we'll see how that goes. Otherwise, as I will indicate in the work session, we're staying very busy, but staying on top of everything. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. County Coordinator?
I'm currently working with Planning and Zoning Director Adam, working through cannabis moratorium and ongoing information about that. Also, I've been working with planning with our HR director for the employee picnic on August 14th, 11 to 1. We've had some great donations from local businesses across the county and for door prizes during the employee picnic. So amongst other meetings I've been attending.
Thank you. County Commissioners report? Commissioner Naska?
Yeah, it was pretty much normal meetings. A couple of them were canceled, so it was a little slower the last couple of weeks. But one thing I wanted to mention is the county, we applied for through, I guess, Catherine and Adam, it's gonna be housed with Adam, the private well protection grant, and we did receive that, and now we're just looking at how to advertise it and get it out to people that will be able to test their water for safe drinking water for 5 different contaminants, and then potentially for the lower income people, help them find a solution to solve that, so.
Commissioner Byers?
That's great, bud. Good job. We had opioid, which we just kind of went through all the scenarios there that Catherine's team worked on. And then the other big thing was I attended Housing Coalition, the summit in Long Prairie. I think Jackie talked about it in her update. I think that they're gonna break it up into some smaller groups now. And I think the whole, that thing was all about the Star Tribune put race meets rural America, and the Department of Justice got involved. That's all pretty much been dispelled in my mind from what, through the conversation. So they're gonna have a more focused group, try to not to duplicate efforts with what the county is doing, what Melissa's doing, which they were very happy with her performance and what she spoke about. And Mayor Waseka was there. He actually was gushing over Melissa. So apparently we've made a good hire at this point. So that's all I got.
Good, thank you. Commissioner Newman?
Yes, Madam Chair. On the 16th, had the Sauk River Watershed and also had a finance meeting that day. On the 22nd was in Morris at the county's providing technology. Everything seems to be going okay there. 23rd, had a personnel meeting. On the 25th, I had a Central Minnesota Council on Aging Zoom meeting. On the 29th, we had our special meeting, and Tuesday, we had a Laudermill hearing. And then just to give a little touch up on the individual that was in here today for public comment, 05, 06, 3 commissioners, we met with the bishops over septic issues. And then I think it was 2017, it was Joe Hatch, Don Osmus, and myself met with all the bishops on putting lights or reflectives on the buggies. So I would suggest that we have another meeting with the bishops and have the sheriff involved and set that meeting for up north with the northern commissioners, and you guys can address it with the bishops.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Commissioner Denny?
Yep, been staying busy. A couple of the highlights, so we're, Mike Wisniewski presented all the equipment gear that we received from our funding for the Emergency Service Board down at our meeting in St. Cloud. It's actually nice to see what you're getting with your dollars. Don't understand half of it, but it was nice to see it. And also then, we had our first meeting on cannabis planning and zoning there, and it was, I know it was just more of an informational subject that night, but it was met with little to no controversy. So hopefully we continue down that road and make this a smooth process all the way through.
Okay, thank you. Myself, I attended the West Juvenile Center up in Moorhead. A lot of discussion there. They're trying to add on, build more. There's such a need for housing for the juveniles, for the detention part of it. Had personnel on the 23rd. We had a closed session meeting, which all the commissioners attended. On the 29th with the rock wall. We had a Laudermill hearing on the 30th. And I also attended the public hearing on the 1st as part of this planning and zoning board meeting. And I was kind of surprised that there weren't more people there to participate in it. It was a very quiet meeting. So it'll be interesting to see what Adam brings up during work session. With that, I will, if there's nothing more to come before the board, I will recess this meeting until August 20th. Thank you. And we'll take 5 minutes before work session, okay?
I forgot to report, I had to go up and take toilet paper.
$1 dinner,
Yeah.
I just had.
Oh my God, the
Okay.
colors.
Good
It
morning.
was crazy. It was insane.
And we'll go ahead and start work session. And the first one up is Hockey Association lease agreement.
Okay, so Adam Knobloch from the Long Prairie Hockey Association contacted me about 2 weeks ago to start discussion on a new lease agreement between Todd County and the LPHA. At the time he spoke with me, he made sure, he mentioned that he's very happy with the ability to use the facilities and the agreements that we've had up till this point. He did have a couple different requests, though, in his conversation with me, actually 3 of them. And so I'm going to go ahead and share that. He wondered if there was a possibility that we could ever move to longer-term agreement with the lease agreement instead of doing it on a year-to-year basis. That was one of his questions. The second question was using the back storage room to store items year-round, and that's a room that's past the milking area in the expo building. And then finally, wondering if he could have the keys starting September 13th instead of waiting until the 15th when the lease agreement begins. At this time, just in knowing what past history requests have come in, I drafted a new lease agreement, and I continued to keep the agreement exactly the same as it has been in the past. But I did want to bring this today to work session just to get the board's input on the agreement, but also on the request that Adam has put forth. The new agreement, and as you can see, or did he, okay, whoops. That's okay. Yeah. The main page is the first page, which basically would show the new amount due. And basically, we are adding a 2% cost each year, and Adam's aware of that, and he is good with that. So that wasn't any change. And, okay, so we'll pull that up. So as it stands right now, the agreement is set for starting September 15th of this year. And we always put it in place with the terms for 3 years, but with a 1 year or each year coming back to discuss the agreement. So you can see on the screen, it shows our total amounts each year for the next 3 years with the 2% increase. Basically, I wanted to bring it today to get input on whether we want to keep the lease agreement as is and as we've been having it, or thoughts about what Adam's requests are. And I'm just looking for direction from the board on your thoughts on that, because we would like to bring it to our next available board meeting so that it is in place in time by September 15th.
I guess for myself, and we've been doing this for 10 years, I think, and we finally got to the point where we're kind of, everybody's on the same page, so I'm kind of like, I'm not in favor of changing it. I think we went to, what did you say, a 3-year agreement, meeting every year to make sure if we needed extra increases. And I think also it was on gas, fuel, things like that. The back storage room, I guess no, because if the fair wants to use that all during the fair, that would not be available to them. Sometimes I've seen 4-H'ers cook or keep their food in there, in the plugins in that room. As far as giving them the key on the 13th, I don't have a problem with that at all. That's my take on it.
Oh, I can share. I think the room storage, I don't know if that, to me, that doesn't make sense at this time, just because I have had discussions with Extension, and they would like to be able to use some of that area during different times. So, if you're gonna move a bunch of stuff in and move it out, because Extension's got something going on, or 4-H, I don't know if that to me, in my heart, that doesn't quite make sense, that part of it. The 13th, I don't see any issue with that. So this would be a 3-year lease, right? Is that what we're saying, or that was?
Isn't that what this is now, a 3-year lease, just coming back to the board just to make sure there isn't any incidentals or, increase in rent or gas, oil, gas, electric, whatever?
We had, Madam Chair, if I may,
Yeah.
I've been dealing with this since 2014.
Yeah.
We've gone through the battles, we've been on the battlefield, and I agree with you, Madam Chair, that we've finally come to a good spot with everybody and the players that use this building. And we used to be a 3-year lease. Then in the construction part of the Expo building and making it nice, we went to a 1-year lease just to see where our finances were. Now we're back to giving them the 3-year lease. Storage was an epitome of absolutely nobody that ever uses this gets to store stuff there. That was a disclaimer from the get-go when we remodeled the Expo building. Too many dollars were put into there that we didn't want things damaged or left over, molding, smelling, whatever. And then, again, by having a 3-year lease, we were able to analyze the financial if we needed to raise things as we went on cost-wise. As far as taking the key early, I don't have a problem with that. They come to my office to get that.
Well,
This agreement signed and brought to my office, so.
The last time I spoke to this gentleman, his comment was about having them, if they knew they had it for whatever term, 3 years, it gives the incoming freshmen, sophomore parents reassurance that they have somewhere to be. So if it's 3 years, I mean, that's good. I could live with that, I would think. I mean, anybody else?
It's been a 3-year lease. I think he was looking at longer.
Oh.
He entertained the idea of maybe 10 years. And he talked about the option of, doing improvements on behalf of the Long Prairie Hockey Association, which isn't, again, anything he's requesting right now. But he said if he knew they were in a longer lease, that they may look at putting improvements into the building themselves if they knew that. But
Yeah, it's hard to, that's a pretty long time frame, and that's,
Yeah.
I don't know, yeah. I would personally want to handle those improvements on a line item basis versus some blanket deal saying, but
okay.
that's my opinion.
And Madam Chair, I think that facility should also be opened back up to, they used to have a spring home and garden show there. And the first time I went to that, the roof was leaking like a sieve. And it was bad. And the taxpayers of the county stuck 1.5 million into that facility to fix it up. So it's like, that should be
It's a county
back up to the community. So I don't think we should tie into a 10-year contract. I think we go as is, and there's no storage there, and we go on from there.
Okay.
I would agree.
I'm good with the same, yeah.
Yep.
No
Okay.
problems there, and the key early is fine. I don't think that's 2 days.
Okay. 2 days is,
Okay, great. Well, then we'll have it ready to go for the next meeting for adopting then. So,
Thank you,
Okay,
Jack.
thank you.
thank you.
John, I believe you're next on the agenda?
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. I don't know if the commissioners received the email that I sent before the meeting. I did ask my office to prepare a list of cases, the caseload from the county attorney's office for the last 3 years, and then just to keep it meaningful as of today, we went from August through July of the last 3 years. Denise, I did not send one to you. I did send one to
I don't have one to bring
Jackie.
up. I'm sorry.
I don't know if you can forward it or somehow get it up so everyone can see it. Anyway, I can, just to get things started, the total number of cases opened in the office from August of 21 through July of 22 was 672. We were still coming out of COVID and just getting back up to business as usual. Then from August of 22 through July of 23, the total number of new cases was 881. For the most recent 12 months, we have 806 new cases. We then broke it down by attorney. I was an assistant county attorney from August of '21 through July of '22. My caseload somehow went up in 2022 to 2023 when I became the county attorney, which was not what I had in mind, but so be it. And being short for 8 of the last 12 months, or being one attorney down, my caseload has remained high. I've had 151 new cases, and that's on top of, as indicated on here, as Sony indicated, all the other stuff that I do as county attorney. She didn't mention meeting with the public, talking with other justice partners, attending committees, and just day-to-day office management. The big increase in the last year has been for child protection and juvenile matters. Juvenile matters have skyrocketed over the past 3 years. Part of that is because we are being more proactive along with social services and probation to try to address needs within the schools. But there are a lot of troubled kids out there, and I don't know if it's COVID, I don't know if it's cannabis, it could be any number of explanations for it. There's greater awareness perhaps, but there are a lot of troubled kids out there, and that we would like to address those issues while these kids are young so they don't become adult criminal cases, and I trust that the sheriff would agree with that assertion. And you can see the other 4 assistants who have been with our office for all or some of the time. Since 2021, I mean, 200 new cases in a year is a big ask. And as I've shared with commissioners and others, there are opportunities for assistant county attorneys to take their experience and talents elsewhere. And I sincerely hope that we can get someone hired to fill that 4th assistant county attorney position to ease up the burden on the 3 assistants who are there and allow me to do more things that I'd like to do to be most effective as county attorney. I'd be glad to answer any questions that the board may have.
Any questions?
I'm curious on the juvenile caseload increase. Are there any key indicators there that would tell us, are those specific crimes, are those, I know it's about your caseload, but I'm just curious that all this is brought up. I mean, you're looking at 25% increase every year?
Yeah, and I don't know if Sheriff Allen feels comfortable sharing his thoughts or observations, but what I'm seeing is it's not just truancy. It's not just kids not going to school. I mean, these are assaults. These are threats. These are drug crimes. These are criminal sexual conduct. I can't overstate how disturbing it is to know the number of troubled kids that are out there. And I do think that the increased number is just greater awareness. It's better policing. It's greater involvement of child protection, social services generally. But it's...
So you're talking, I mean, these are serious crimes, they're not...
Yeah, these, if...
Excuse my...
No, these, I don't have the exact number, but there are a considerable number of felonies included in that juvenile, and we don't treat most juvenile felonies as adult crimes. So we can, some are. But these are kids who are, after spending some time often in juvenile detention, with very strict conditions on them, getting a chance to not let some youthful indiscretion ruin their lives as far as following them with a felony conviction that will impede their ability to perhaps have a firearm, housing, education, all of those things.
I'm a little like shocked, honestly.
I know when I went to the
I mean,
West Central juvenile detention meeting up in Moorhead, and we're hearing the same thing, is the housing to be able to take these kids in, and some of these kids, when they're convicted, whatever, have to go out of state to find places to put them, because there's so many of them, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what's overwhelming
Yeah.
for me is that, I mean, I hear about individual cases and things, but then you see this large increase of 25 or plus percent. I mean, that 23 to 24, it's even more, it's like 35, maybe, that's a huge number. And that, you know, this overwhelming, the resources that are used, the impact on these families and the communities and the children and juveniles, and, I mean, if this is the trend, I mean, we're looking at, you know, I would think of Todd County as a safe county, and then, you know, this is not great. This is nothing to write home about here.
So Madam Chair, the former county attorney, when he was in here, told us there was like over 30-some steps to prosecute somebody. So this is basically, I think, like a revolving, you know, you got so many steps to prosecute somebody, and it just keeps going and going and going, and then you got the repetitiveness of these individuals that, yeah, and they just keep coming back. So out of this 806, how many of these are multiple cases that are year after year after year?
Well, that's just it, Madam Chair. Commissioner Newman, that doesn't account for how many of these people do come back as probation violations when it goes from a stay of adjudication to a stay of imposition, from a stay of execution to a commitment to prison and so on. I'm sure that we'd be able to break that down. This report was pretty easy to put together and generate, but you're right. A lot of what we do is dealing with people who either before they're sentenced as a condition of release from jail or upon sentencing failing to abide by terms and conditions of probation, we see over and over again. And with the juvenile cases, there are even more steps because there are so many incentives to not let the crime haunt the juvenile for the rest of his or her life. And so they literally need to be babysat, these cases.
So you're saying there's a lot of leniency built into the sentencing of the crime, or the way that's, they incentivize, they're incentivizing the counties to not make this person's life be altered forever?
Yes, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is designed to put away only the most heinous and egregious juvenile felons and treat the rest of them as kids, as they should be, with second and third and fourth chances before real lifelong consequences are imposed.
It's just the ugly behind-the-scenes stuff that nobody wants to ever see or look at. They see the numbers in front of you, but this is why it's so important to have, you know, a county attorney involved and a huge HHS staff and supervisors and managers and sheriff and deputies that are all educators for these juvenile ones. I mean, every interaction you guys have with them on a daily basis, I mean, this is incredible for many cases, but I mean, every interaction you guys have is a chance to educate them, put them in the right direction. Like you said, I know our system, it seems like it's going to be a lot of repeat stuff, but if we're giving a child a chance to rehabilitate himself in the community and not ruin his life forever and have him held by those constraints for education or housing or the freedoms that we all get to experience, I mean, that's, like I said, I appreciate everything you guys do because it takes a huge system to help these kids get on the right track, and that's a huge number, but do appreciate everything you guys all do for us because that's just not, it's a huge number. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Commissioner Denny. I noticed Sheriff Allen is here serving as the bailiff, and he stood up for a minute. I don't know if he had something to add, and we didn't talk about this beforehand, but, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, Sheriff, but I don't know, did I misstate or overstate anything in terms of the juvenile and the adult criminal situation in Todd County?
I don't believe so. County Commissioner, the issue we're facing is we've got a combination of mental health issues that have exploded in the last few years, chemical use that is accessible more than it ever has been, and social media that glorifies all this action. So a kid who, for lack of a better term, my generation wouldn't have access or see some of the things they're seeing. Now today's generation sees it multiple times a day. So that's what we're facing.
With the, are the kids getting younger that you're seeing? I mean, I continue to hear that it's going younger and younger and younger.
Madam Chair, you would be stunned to know the number of crim sex cases involving kids as young as 10 that we deal
Yeah.
with.
Unbelievable.
Madam Chair, the Director of Social Services is also here. I don't know if
Yeah.
she has any observations.
Absolutely, Jackie.
This is a really good lead into the next work session agenda as kind of that, upstream approach that we're working on regionally with our Region 5 directors, again, which is the counties
Yeah.
that are really contiguous to us. For every ounce, for every dollar you put in, you get $6 in return back to the county, but really an opportunity to possibly change a child's life. But there's going to be some active efforts that we are going to do that we would like to do as a region. And we, again, I keep saying this, we are so lucky to have Sourcewell in our backyard and within our county that they're willing to invest in this approach as well. So yes, these kids are young. And again, I want to thank the commissioners being so supportive for us to be able to take on our own children's mental health unit. I think we're able to be, that gives us the ability to be interactive with these kids early and have an active part in how we're going to help plan that preventative approach with them. So we don't have to place them in a residential setting. Those residential settings are becoming difficult because these kids have higher needs, and there's not many of them out there. So like you had said, Commissioner Becker, that they are having to go across the nation to be served because there isn't anybody within this border of our state to be able to do that. And it becomes, and you're disrupting, their school, their friends, their family, and becomes very costly as well. So we try to do these approaches to reduce the county levy and that budget for our housing placements as well. So it's kind of a shot in the dark that we have each year when we budget for those, but we also know that it can affect us all as taxpayers.
If I may, what I heard Sheriff say was three things really: the mental health, accessibility, and social media. It's it's different than when I'm 55. I'll be 55 this year. It's different than when we didn't have social media then. I don't know what we even did. Telephone long cords or something like that. Yeah. So this is, and I don't manage these departments, but I'm just thinking that if it's very accessible, they have to think about how do we combat the accessibility of it versus once they have it, then we got to deal with it. So how do we combat, I'm not the right word, I don't get, military here, but I mean, how do we, I don't even want to say manage it because we don't want to manage, we want it gone, I do. And then the social media thing, I mean, that's everybody has access to it, and there's kids that follow this person or that person, and they see someone doing something that they think is cool, they try it. But do other counties, or do we have social media presence or people that are, influential that can be followed, I mean, that's my one thing, is we never really, I don't think, at least I haven't seen it, and I could be blind to it, but what are the success stories that we are promoting so that people get excited about it? I mean, when we have DARE, which my daughter at the Catholic school, you know, she got her certificate. We see, I can't think of the officer's name now.
Ryan Hansen or whoever his.
No, the young guy. Maybe he's not here anymore, I'm not sure. Oh, you know, it's Preston, I'm sorry. That's so city probably, yeah. But anyway, and the kids looked up to that, you know, they were very, he was like a hero to them. So who's our heroes and how are we promoting our heroes so that at least out of the 193, 3 or 4 or 5 of them can be influenced to aspire for something else. I mean, I'm not giving solutions, I'm just talking out loud and the things that are popping into my head as I sit here, listen to our professionals, so.
Commissioner, when you say it's a battle, that's fair. It is a battle. We see this stuff every day, and the general public doesn't see it because it's not out for the guy who's living on County Road 11 sees it in the front yard. Although we do see it in the front yard when after we wrestle with a clown on 11 last 2 weeks ago that was high on meth. So it's here. It's no different than St. Cloud, Minneapolis, and Detroit. It's here. Our difference is we're very proactive. John's office and I work very closely together saying, you don't get a break, you bring meth in our county, you go to jail. And we've extended that to juvenile arrests where maybe in the past it was let's let mom and dad deal with it. Mom and dad can't deal with it. It's beyond what they're capable of. We made an arrest last week where a kid did, I would bet $10,000 of damage in mom and dad's basement. In the past, maybe we would try to work with that. We need to get that kid in the system now because in 2 years he's going to be an adult and he thinks that's an okay way to handle his issues. So we're dealing with this day in and day out. Kids can send pictures of themselves or their friends that they get to the whole planet in a click of a button. And that takes a lot of time and resources both in my office and in John's. So a lot of those cases are just things that we're going to have to learn how to deal with. But if we start early and we're aggressive with these things, we're going to hopefully curb some of that.
What I just heard I felt better because I really, you know, in this day and age, to me, there's just, you know, John talked about the built-in incentives not to impact these people's lives. I mean, we all want to make a positive impact however we can, but at some point you have to, you know, the law has to be enforced. And they have to understand the repercussions, and hopefully they learn from it, whatever, because, you know, when was it? It used to be like tough on law, McGruff or whatever. I mean, I do not want Todd County to become Hennepin County. Correct. People move from St. Cloud, all kinds of places to come to Clarissa and Eagle Bend and, you know, Pillsbury and Swanville because they wanted a better place. And so whatever we can do, from my standpoint, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yep, these diversion programs are fantastic, and we're very selective on who gets to use those resources. We give first and maybe second chances, very few third chances.
Yeah. But we also know it's generational, so it takes generations. I mean, we're gonna probably all in this room, they say it's 5 generations to be able to sometimes make a difference, but for some of these kids, so it's breaking that cycle. That's important. And, you know, it's our goal to keep whittling away at that so we can make a difference.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes.
Great that, like Bob said, to hear these programs, but also I'd like to see, like when they came in and asked for prom donation, I'd rather see a Lyceum program in the public schools where you go in and Sheriff Allen tells these things, because we don't know. Let's put a little scare into these kids. I'm all for making somebody better and giving them every opportunity, but at some point in time, you got to be that strict parent. And you got to be strict with these kids to let them know they got to do this straight and narrow. And I think if they put more programs in the school, that's just like the resource officers that were there. Well, my kids grew up with them, and they were friends with them, but they knew the law. Now, I don't even think schools have resource officers. If it's due, I can't touch them. I can't even tell them that they should behave in the aisle of the school because they might get called by a parent. And it's just sad. It's a sad world. So I appreciate everything you guys do too, but I'd like to see even more of the educational programs
The
or
resource
speaking
officers.
programs to get to these kids that way. Just a suggestion, an idea with some of these funds that we're getting.
Yeah,
Let's put them back into the school.
My daughter is going from the Catholic school to 7th grade Long Prairie. And obviously, when you're in a private school setting like that, it's somewhat sheltered a little more, you know, what's your experience and what you see, and it's, you know, classes are really monitored and stuff like that. And so, while my boys went there and everything was fine, you know, I'm not sure how it's gonna be for my daughter. And so, you know, I hope there's enough education that she's been influenced in the right way, that she made good decisions, but not everybody has that opportunity. So whatever we can do, like, I agree with you, you know, either educate them and find some role models and, you know, it was a good point. Thanks, Denise.
Yeah.
There's been a lot going on for the last 5 years, and you mentioned COVID, and, you know, you're right, Denise, I do think that we do need to be in the schools. And that's something that we're working on through Sourcewell, but that also has to be by invitation. So as much as we want to be there every day, we also have to have permission from the superintendents and the districts to be able to do that. So there is some incentives right now that we're working through with Sourcewell to help them, help these kids when they are in the school, because right now, we all know they're in the same position as we are, struggling with the mental health issues with these kids, so, and they're just trying to get through each school day, week, semester, and year, and yet, keep these kids engaged and keep them in front of them, because when they go home in the summer, there is a lot of vulnerability, and we do see an increase in reports after each holiday break and with each school year that kids have relapsed. So, yeah, as much as we can embed ourselves in the schools, we're gonna be doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah, Madam Chair, one thing if I may, and that was great conversation, I mean, it's great, but just looking back at what John's material is here, of his caseloads, you know, we see their caseloads going up. We don't want to burn out our assistant county attorneys either, because we're one short right now, and they're probably feel like they're getting their butt kicked by the overload in cases they're getting. So, I mean, we need to think about how we can get that other seat filled and get things rolling, so we have they have the, you know, the drive to stay with it and to hopefully keep the ball rolling in the right direction as well, you know, because we're putting them in a tough situation by throwing 200 new cases or 200 new juvenile cases a year at someone. I mean, that's a lot of cases. So, I mean, John, in your, you know, you're aware of it more than we are, but, you know, to fill that seat, what do we need to do? I mean, I'm asking you, what do you think we need to do to get that seat filled? Because it's got to happen soon.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Noska, thank you. A lot of this is connected to class and comp. I think high tides raise all boats. When we have a salary that we can offer that's more competitive and more attractive, because I mean, right now, let's be honest, as an attorney in this area, you either grew up here or you're married into the area. That's why I'm here. I mean, that's Jason Sal now grew up. I mean, on and on. So salary is a big deal. It's a big consideration. And it is what it is. I mean, the class and comp, that's not what we're talking about right now, but that's hopefully going to be the answer. In the meantime, like I said, we do have a couple of recent graduates who have applied, and we'll hope to interview them soon. But I appreciate the observations, and yeah, I also, while I have the floor, would like to add, I've had the honor of being asked to speak at the last 2 DARE graduation ceremonies in Long Prairie, and I wish that it weren't just 5th and 6th graders in Long Prairie hearing my little talk, that it's basically in the can. It's the same talk that I give to kids that I drive around in the minivan going to traveling basketball or whatever. It's the, you know, make good choices, or the one bad choice speech. They've all heard it, because so many of these kids, and I don't want to get into the parenting, but the fact is, they're desensitized. They don't think that they have any consequences. They don't think it's going to happen to them. And what I've tried to say in that graduation speech, and to any kid that'll listen to me, is you can't think like that. You can't think, well, that'll never happen to me. It will. You will get caught, and there will be grown-up consequences for stuff that you do as a kid. Anything that we can do to increase that awareness, I think would be great. I love the idea of leaning on Sourcewell and perhaps looking at the opioid dollars. But like Director Ock said, the schools have to want it. And anything that I can do, anything that my office can do to assist in that type of outreach, I would love to do it myself if I had more time to do so. So thank you.
Thanks, John.
I got it. I know this, but this is a work session. We all said that we're going to
Absolutely.
use this for constructive time, and
Absolutely.
you know what? So whatever your watch your calendar says, just hang on to it. You know, in my, maybe it's because we're all talking about something that's near and dear. I'm not sure what it is, but I mean, you know, look at these numbers. The Janes, 112, 144, 193. Okay, that's an uprise. Obviously, we're not going to make that number go down by hiring another county assistant attorney. Now, they can manage the case, but here's what I'm getting at. We do need that, okay, we need butts in the seats, right? No doubt about it. So you can do some of the things that we're talking long-term as a team, the three of you, or four, or five, or six, whoever it is, can get that number down. And it's a lot of hard work. It ain't easy. And some of the stuff that we're going to ask you to do is you don't want to do. We're all parents here to do things that you don't want to do, but you got to do. It's hard work, and to hard work, you really got to be together. Okay, so I think all these points are great. I think having an education package is good, and I feel like I'm just sensing, hearing these voices, and it feels like today, you guys, you know, I hear let's do something. Let's work together. Let's do this. And we, as a board, can help you with, you know, these discussions about butts in the seats and dollars and stuff like that. We know it's more expensive everywhere. Do we want to spend more money? No. But it's more expensive everywhere. We can't, you know, from Mike's area, your area, our area, everywhere, it's more expensive. So, you know, come to these things like this with open mind and working together, and we're going to accomplish really good things. I don't know. For me, this feels really good today.
I agree with you.
I don't want to talk about feelings too much, so that's. But I just like the direction that you guys are talking and how you think you can make a difference.
But you know, Bob, you gotta think about it. Society ain't helping us on this. You know, when you got kitty litter boxes in schools, school bathrooms, now you got mandatory tampon dispensers in boys' bathrooms.
Yeah.
I mean, and kids nowadays, they don't know what do they want to be. So it's society is kicking our ass. And how do you change society? That's my question. How do you change it?
You know, it's I don't know how you change society, but we have Todd County, so if we can deal with Todd County, and maybe our neighbor Wadena is part of that solution, and then all of a sudden Morrison, you know, there's a little trifecta here that's doing some really great things that the rest of the state goes, what the heck are they doing up there? Their caseloads are coming down. They're doing, you know, I mean, I know we're not Douglas County and have 10,000 lakes around us and generating tax revenue like that, but we got a lot of great things. Ag, and our team is going to be strong, so let's get this done.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank John. Just a simple thing like this brought up a fantastic conversation between all of us, the parties involved. You couldn't plan on putting together a conversation like this if you tried to. So I appreciate everybody being able to put into it, let their feelings show out, their concerns, so forth. And yes, by all means, we have to work together because we do have this problem in Todd County. And I just hope that we're able to get you a new attorney in there, John. As far as the board, we're working very hard in trying to get that accomplished. And we have to also answer to the taxpayers, as you all know. So there's always that input has to come into our decisions too. But thank you guys for the conversation. And with that, Jackie?
Like you said, Commissioner Becker, Madam Chair, you're right, we couldn't have planned this any better.
No.
Not even knowing John was gonna bring his case numbers here in front of
I
you
mean,
today,
but-
so this is,
Collusion.
this is
Yeah,
great,
such
so.
good conversation, absolutely.
Morrison County, as we meet, John meets with his supervisors, Derek meets with his supervisors, I meet with the directors, and Morrison County was made aware of a grant through the family, the Sauer Family Foundation around family resource centers. And I'm gonna let Derek and kind of John take it over, but they were awarded the grant to start planning, to consider maybe having a family resource center within the region, Morrison, Todd, Wadena, Cass, Crow Wing, and possibly Aiken, so I'm gonna let you take it over.
I think it's a perfect segue from what we were talking about to here, because as child services and as social workers, this is kind of our way of addressing the issues that we're all talking about, getting that upfront approach and getting in front of families and providing the support that they need. So we're not talking about cases that are coming before a county attorney, and we're not talking about the chemical use. We're not doing any of that. We're talking about how we can serve the families in the area. So where we're at right now is Morrison County, like Jackie said, has gotten the funding to look for a provider to kind of come in and assess the needs within the 5 counties that we have. On the second page of this report, it gives the 3 main things that they're covering, right? They're gonna identify the community members that can come and talk to us about what they might need. They're gonna have listening sessions to talk about where their providers, family, stakeholders, and where our service gaps are. And then they're going to determine how we can fill those needs, right? Where we're gonna need the family service center, who are the providers gonna be that are gonna be a part of that service center? What kind of things are we wanting to do within the community? So right now, we're just in the point of looking for a provider to come in and do those needs assessments within all of our 5 counties, determine where we can provide the service and go from there.
Yeah, I can just add too, for like the mental health side of the conversation is that, you know, we have children's mental health unit that I oversee, and they, you know, they're kind of the glue for a lot of these families experiencing mental health symptoms, but they're doing so because there's a lack of resources in our area to address mental health. You know, you have individual therapists, you have psychiatrists, you have med providers, you have all these different people who can be a part of it, but they're often having to travel for their intense needs, you know, quite some distances. There's a lack of in-home services to come into the home, and that's where you're gonna get your education. You know, you're helping parents understand the effects of social media, helping them understand what their children are kind of experiencing and going through, and how they can shape those conversations in a healthy way. Because that's where we see a lot of the issue is, you know, how do parents connect with their kids to help these issues and not, you know, agitate the mental health symptoms that they're experiencing too. So CMHI has been working on that. We've done some surveys to identify, you know, what resources families feel are lacking in providers and so forth. And so this is just to further that conversation of then how do we address those? So that's kind of been the focus of the region is we know there's a lack of resources and we need to address it, so.
Family Resource Center can be a number of things. It can be really a holistic approach, which means from all generations of life. Some resource centers really, they're a spot that's community-led and community-funded. And really, with some of them, it is what the tie-in for the county is the staff member that may need to sit there. So maybe they need, they're low income and they need help applying for healthcare. There could be an eligibility worker that possibly sits there and helps them get through that application. It could be somebody that has a needs for a new mom and do a family in-home visit there to help them navigate through the WIC system. So all the way through possibly the other end of the spectrum being in adulthood, needing mental health resources or a visit with their adult mental health worker, case manager. So it can go from birth to the end of life. This is kind of a one-stop shop, again, for any individual within the 5 counties, possibly Aiken as well.
Yeah, Jackie, you keep saying, I'm hearing a personal contact. And you know, during COVID, it was, everything was phone, Zoom, and now we're trying to get back into the personal contact again. And with our conversation before, I think this is what was so lacking in those years of COVID, is that personal contact person. And
So
instead
much
of
that
trying to
was lost.
Zoom someone to find information, if you can go in and see someone. Go ahead, I hated to
Yeah,
interrupt you.
you're right. It was that face-to-face contact, but also that opportunity to offer resources, whatever they may need, and get them connected within their community. And again, this is community-led. So really what the tie-in for the counties might be to staff, an individual, a staff member out there, to be able to get them connected or what they might need.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And you're talking center, you're talking one center within the region, you're talking multi?
That's what we're trying to kind of gather where the need is. Is it a north-south? Is it an east-west? Or is it a center? That's something that we are in the process of having to figure out where the location of it might be.
Number in each county and the location of where it would be best served in the community. That's kind of where they're at with the
Okay,
provider.
and you're looking at the Region 5 counties then?
Yep. So as they're putting out information, we thought it was important to bring that to you. There's no decision-making on this. It's just more for awareness that this is kind of the direction that we're moving in with one of the initiatives on the, human services, public health side.
Okay,
That's it.
Thank you.
Perfect.
yeah.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for sitting through that, Adam.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Morning,
Adam.
Adam.
I think my first topic here, we have a number of watershed-related updates, so I just lumped these all together into a single item. If you can scroll down to maybe just that next page, I believe. Yeah, so the first thing was the Crow Wing River watershed. The plan has been developed, and it is currently out on the 60-day public comment period. So if you have any comments you'd like to make in this document here, there's a link to where to make your comments. We sent this notice to all of our local newspapers so they could do it as a press release. But ultimately, just wanted to give that brief update and try to get the word out there that the 60-day comment period is open currently right now on the Crow Wing plan. If there are no
Adam, when
questions,
does that close? Because we had that
Yeah.
set-off meeting at Camp Ruppy quite a while ago, didn't we?
Your question is, when does the 60-day comment period
Yes.
close? It's towards the end. I want to say it's like September 23rd, maybe,
Okay.
is when that closes. So there's a little bit of time here. Is there any other questions on Crow Wing related stuff? Okay. Next is the Leaf Wing Red Eye Agreement of Services. So if you scroll just past that next page, yeah, one more. That's okay. Maybe I got things out of order here. Yep, this is for the Mississippi Sartell. I might have had these out of order. It's that one there. Oh, I wonder if I stuck the wrong thing, and I apologize for that. This was just a short agreement of services. We got $10,000 from this watershed to do a septic upgrade. It's really only enough to do one system, but we also don't have a large area up there. So this was just, and I can send this out in an email. I wanted everybody to be able to see the agreement, and I can bring it back next meeting for the board to sign. We have to sign this agreement in order to then access that $10,000. So just wanted the board to see that before signing it, but I clearly included the wrong item in the packet of stuff there, so I can get that sent out. It's tough to look at it when it's not available there. So if there's no questions on that, I can send it out.
I have one quick one for you. How do you decide, like, if it's just enough money for one septic, is there a process to, like, draw out a name out of a hat, or one of the most in dire need, or?
Yeah, we try to do some sort of combination of, it's mostly first come, first serve, but if there are systems that are going to have more reductions, we call them, have a greater impact, we try to prioritize those also. We don't get a ton of grant requests every year, but it's always enough, it's always more than what we have money for.
Yeah.
So we do get the MPCA funds every year. A couple years ago, we got an extra Bowser fund. Now we can start accessing all these different watershed funds and septic system replacements. We still have to follow the low income standards, but it's additional money that we think we're gonna have no problem spending.
Sure.
So we should have, I'm hoping to get a little bit from Sauk, a little bit from Long Prairie, and then we'll have this $10,000 here in the Red Eye. I don't know what we have in the future here. In this first round through the Mississippi Brainerd, we don't have any for septics, but we'd never have a problem spending it just within a single year. So we try to always gather more. It's a great program to help these low-income families replace their septic systems, and in that difference in cost that they still have to cover, we have our local loan program to assist also. We can couple those programs together.
Perfect, thank you.
So I'll make sure to send that out so you get a chance to look at it. It's very short, pretty straightforward agreement. Just wanted to have that discussion before you saw it at the meeting on the 20th, I think it is the next one. Okay, now I got the Mississippi Sartell. I know that is in there. Wanted to have the discussion about the Mississippi Sartell. If you scroll to the very bottom of this agreement, there is a map. Yep, there we go. So this is the entire Mississippi Sartell watershed, and you can see Todd County's tiny little portion of the watershed there. And then if you go click the watershed maps one there to go back up to the other map, it's one more up. There we go. And then scroll just to the very southeast. That little blue area there where Denise's mouse is, if you look at it on a Todd County scale, that's all the area of the county we have to cover. So we are not triggering mandatory participation in this. I didn't know that the board would want to participate in this tiny little portion. So there's no action we need to take, but if there is somebody, or if we want to participate in the development of the plan, we can do that. It's not mandatory. If we're not going to participate, there's no action that's needed at the next meeting. If we do want to participate in the development of that plan, there's the memorandum of agreement that we would have to sign on to. The other thing I wanted to note, that if we don't participate in this planning process, it doesn't exclude us from participating in the implementation later. So once this is prepared, then if we want to access those funds and have somebody on the board, or I don't even think we necessarily have to have somebody be a part of the policy committee, that we can still access the funds. But if we wanted to participate in the implementation, that still is on the table after the planning process. I just wanted to get a feel from the board of whether I should bring this back or not. It's like less than 1% of the county. It's very, very minimal. We as staff have been attending these early kickoff meetings just to hear the information and be prepared to participate. But you know, if Todd County's not going to be an active participant, I don't think the Soil and Water Board will participate either. So we as staff will just get the email, stay in touch with what's going on, and if there's anything we need to, we can attend those TAC meetings and stuff. But outside of that, it'll be pretty minimal participation just because of the nature of that watershed.
Is that your area, Lou?
That is my area,
Okay.
yeah, if I may here. I agree with you though on that, Adam, because with that small of a piece, there's not really any reason for us to have a ton of input in that. They're gonna manage it the right way anyway. As long as we can still have, if we do have a project that needs some funding in that area, as long as we can still access that funding for our landowners, that's really the biggest part of it.
Yep. Yeah, and I confirmed that in the first kickoff meeting, that even if we don't participate now, it doesn't mean we can't participate later.
Perfect.
So if that's kind of what I expected, but then we'll put this aside, and if there's any major updates, I'll bring updates, but we'll probably just stay in touch with the group as staff and move forward from there then. Okay, so since we were talking about those other three watersheds, I thought I'd just bring a little bit more information. The Long Prairie watershed, we're still implementing our first round of funding, and we're working on the work plan for the second round. Long Prairie also received, the Long Prairie River watershed also received $50,000 in incentives for people to sign up or re-enroll in a CRP program. So we're working on getting that rolling also. Sauk River is pretty similar story. They're just a little bit further along in the process because their plan was developed. They actually were one of the pilot watersheds for the CRP program, so though Sauk River will be getting additional funding for that CRP incentive program. And lastly, Mississippi Brainerd is really just getting rolling. The plan's been adopted, approved, everything's good, received funding, so now it's a matter of getting projects going. So just thought I'd cover all the watersheds while we're talking about a few of them. And if there's any questions or comments, happy to take them, or else I think I know what I need to do is get you that that services agreement for the leaf wing red eye for you to look, but that we'll have the that back on the agenda for the 20th to adopt that so we can access that $10,000 and hopefully help a low-income family replace a septic system.
Okay, questions, anyone? Okay.
Okay. All right, and my next topic here, do you have, yes. Okay, so I handed you paper copies before the meeting this morning. It's on the screen there. This is the interim ordinance to establish a moratorium on cannabis businesses. This was asked to just be on the work session today to discuss it briefly before we bring it back on the 20th to actually take action on it. So this went to the Planning Commission last week, Thursday. Commissioner Denny and Commissioner Becker were in attendance for that portion. We had one public comment, and it was, is this gonna affect my existing business at the moment? And the answer is really no. There's a part in here that talks about existing ones still operating through this time. Well, the actual regulations and rules we'll establish later may affect them, but this right now does not. That was the only comment we had. But if there was anything else that the board wanted to discuss, I just put on the work session to do that this morning.
And this is basically a 5-month moratorium because the board, we will have to make a determination before the first of the year about what our plans are for cannabis licensing.
Jackie, have you heard, or Adam, have you heard from any of the towns or cities, townships yet? Or
Not yet. We're creating a survey to reach out to them. They're kind of waiting to see what we do too. They do know that Todd County is looking at just putting a hold right now, and that'll give us time then to gather information from the cities and townships in the county to find out what their intentions are. According to our last census and with what the state statute states, Todd County can have, we can limit to 3 businesses in the county. Now, and Adam doesn't know this because I just got this information hot off the press, but the Association of Minnesota Counties sent me some scenarios about how it might work with cities and counties and townships and what happens if basically there's 3 options for the cities and the townships. They could either choose to delegate their authority for any licensing to Todd County. They could determine that they want to take over and do their own licensing, or they could choose to do nothing and let unlimited businesses come in. But then in that case, we're still limiting to 3. And it's very tricky when you're looking at each entity doing different things. So the email I just received from AMC kind of gives some scenarios, such as if the city of Long Prairie decided they wanted to do their own zoning, how would that affect Todd County issuing licenses? Or if Bertha wanted to delegate to Todd County, how would that affect Bertha? So he's given some scenarios, and he said it's very tricky right now, and it's a moving target. And everybody's learning what it means. So there's some trainings coming up. I know some of you are going to the one at the end of August. There's another one August 9th on Zoom, and I believe the Office of Cannabis Management, which is a state office that governs this, will be putting that training on over Zoom. But this moratorium just gives us pause. It gives time to just get the research, gather everything we need to make informed decisions that we can then, we have a small group here that's meeting, and we can give recommendations then to all of you so you have everything you need to make an informed decision. And part of that is reaching out to those cities and counties to find out what, or townships, to find out what their intentions are.
Okay. This gentleman that talked the other night, and he was selling gummies, how many people do we have like that within the county, or did they have to be licensed before they could start selling, or what? I was surprised when he
Yeah.
came up and said he was selling.
Yeah, to the best of my knowledge, it became legal and people could sell them. So you look at any gas station, smoke shops, liquor stores, everybody's selling them.
Yep.
And that's going to change after in 2025, because at a minimum, they're gonna have to be licensed and registered. But if they're under that 5 milligram threshold, there's like 12 different business types in this. So it's really difficult to piece it all together, but they may not be able to sell, like when you think of a cannabis business, they won't be able to sell all those same products, but they'll be limited in what they can do, but still have to be licensed and registered.
Right. The ordinance that Adam has drafted for the moratorium under Article 6 explains exceptions, which is any business that's currently operating medical cannabis or is sale of edible cannabinoid products in a liquor store. And so these are businesses that are currently selling, and this moratorium wouldn't affect them, the businesses that are currently selling in Todd County on those low dose. Also from AMC, the businesses that sell hemp or low potency THC, which has been allowed for the last several years, do not count as part of that 3 business threshold limitation.
So there's a lot to learn yet.
Yes.
We're slowly piecing it together. I think it was in June sometime, AMC sent out a model ordinance for counties and cities to use or adopt. And I've taken that and converted it into the format of our local ordinance, and then have areas highlighted that it's kind of like a fill in the blank when we get there, to kind of figure out some of those local choices of time, place, location, manner, that these businesses can operate in.
Okay. My next question is around the growing part of it. Did we ever put in the ordinance or somewhere where a few years back with the AMC conference, they said, make sure you have ordinances that they can't grow close to cities and so forth?
Production, yeah.
Yeah,
Did we
I
ever
don't
do
think we
that,
have.
Adam?
We don't have anything in our local ordinance.
Is that
should
something that we definitely should be looking at this point?
that will be included in this
That
next.
would be included within
Yep.
this?
Yeah, and I guess that's going to be the major impact, right? We live in an agricultural area. There's space to grow it. You don't have to grow it indoors. You can grow outdoors or have some combination of it. I have heard that when it's in that process of being processed to package whatever, that there is a distinct smell and other things that go along with it. So I think
to the
setting
ripening
some.
order?
What?
Wasn't as they were ripening or getting ready to harvest, it was supposed to be a terrible, terrible smell?
I've heard that too.
Were we in St. Cloud maybe when we got that program? Yeah, because they said to make sure that you're well aware of what's going on.
Right. And that's
Yeah.
where I think that's going to be or should be one of our major focus areas when we look at where those type of businesses can be located, setbacks to residences, those sort of things are going to be major impacts in developing this ordinance. And those are the things that I think the county has the opportunity to get established once we get to that point of developing the ordinance, which we're working on now.
What about production for personal consumption as well? You know, does that, like,
Yeah.
someone wants to grow it in their basement or in their garage or whatever, does that need to be regulated? I don't know.
No, I think right now you don't,
You
you
get
can
3
grow up like 2 or 6
You can grow
plants
so
right
much,
now.
that's already a state.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's already a deal. I think
State's got
there's
that?
Yeah.
plenty of people doing that up and down the road streets.
Yep.
I don't know what the number, if it's plants or if it's.
Yeah, it's number of plants per person per household or something like that.
Okay.
So a lot to learn, a lot to piece together. We've got a few months here to get it organized, and this moratorium really just
Gives us a
establishes that we're
chance.
working on it and gets the process rolling officially. Although even without the moratorium, nobody can establish that business yet. This makes it clear you cannot, and also I think puts that message out to the public that we're working on it, and it's coming. So if there's, any other questions on it?
Madam Chair, I have one question. So we're established this moratorium. What happens if somebody does start a business right now? who enforces it? What do we do, or what's?
Yep. So that's Article 7, enforcement.
Sorry.
Yep, it is the violation of this ordinance is a misdemeanor.
Okay. Okay. I should have just read a little bit further.
And Madam
So
Chair,
this, yeah.
be a topic at the fall AMC conference because a lot of us are still working on this yet. so-
They are. I've reached out to some of the counties that are a little bit further in beginning to create their ordinance licensing. And so one of them, St. Louis County up north, they're going to be sending us their example of what they're drafting. And I'm trying to gather some different ones. But Office of Cannabis Management is also trying to really guide along with the Association of Minnesota Counties. And their plan will be to set up a hotline for complaints and issues at the Office of Cannabis Management. So the public will have a number to call if there's concerns or issues. And hopefully that's going to be online pretty quick.
I was just surprised there wasn't more participation in the hearing, as far as the growing part of it, or,
Yeah.
there was really no.
Yeah, there's just one, maybe there was other people there that were just listening,
Yeah.
but there's one person there that made one comment and that was it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was surprised.
Okay.
So I think, Adam, the next step is you will go ahead and bring this to the next board meeting then.
On the
for
20th.
adoption.
On the 20th, yes.
And I'm gonna go downstairs and send you that other agreement too for that watershed too, so you have a chance to look that over. It's short, pretty straightforward, but wanted you to have a chance to see it before we put that on the agenda for the 20th.
Okay. That's it?
Yep.
All right, thank you.
I gotta talk to you for a second. though,
Okay.
Adam.
All right.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you all.
Have a great day, everyone.
Brandy does.
Adam, I was asked about a leaking irrigation well, and I talked to Lou about that.